They were called the Schildkree or just the Kree, since their name was almost unpronounceable by non-Kree, and the name loosely translated as the Peoples. Their world orbited a G5V-class star, somewhat bigger and hotter than our own star. They were also considered to be the most aggressive and bloodthirsty race the galaxy had ever seen. Their central belief was that the universe was their playground. The Kree took what they wanted, when they wanted, and no one could stop them. Every time any species had tried to attack them, any time a species had fought them, that species' warriors had died, generally without even harming the Kree. Fortunately for the rest of us, all they really wanted were the G-class stars similar to their own. The K-types like ours were too cool for their liking. The light they produced was too dim and red for their eyes to see easily. Since the G-types were too hot with radiation and the visible part of the light spectrum was too bright for us, there wasn't usually a problem. As for the Kree themselves, they were natural predators. They had evolved on a world that was warm and wet. Most of it was swamp. They were trilaterally symmetric. They had 3 arms, 3 legs, 3 eyes, 3 ears. As a consequence, they had a 3-legged stance that allowed them to spread their weight out, and their feet were wide, with webbing between the 3 digits of each foot so that they wouldn't sink into the muck of their swampy home. Their 3 arms and legs, for that matter, each had 3 joints. Each digit had 3 joints as well, and ended in a claw that was almost as long as their first finger joint. The 3 legs allowed them to move quickly and surely across the mud, and their 3 arms gave them ample ways to grapple with their prey. Their 3 eyes allowed them to see all around them, and being on stalks along with their ears, they could use them to detect and triangulate their prey with great accuracy. You would think their sensory stalks containing their eyes and ears, some say they could also smell with them, would make them vulnerable. But you would be wrong, for when threatened they could pull the stalks back into their armored bodies for protection. Oh, and their bodies, as I mentioned, were armored, encased in strong shells made of an organic material that was very hard. I have seen them take a direct hit from one of our projectile weapons, only for the hit to ricochet off. All of which is to say they were formidable natural warriors. Their intellect was equally fiendish. You know the history of our people, how it took us almost 10,000 cycles to go from lighter than aircraft to heavier than aircraft, and another 5,000 cycles to develop spaceflight, and from there another almost 1,000 cycles to develop interplanetary flight, let alone interstellar flight. The Kree did all of that in just 3,000 cycles. They had developed that capability faster than any other species in recorded galactic history. But they paid a heavy price of their own for that capability. They developed rapidly, yes, but they lived rapidly too. Their lives were very short by our standards. A typical Kree would only live 250 or so cycles, while we live nigh on 3,000 or even more if we are lucky. Anyway, as I said, the yellow stars were more to their liking, and they would only bother us if we had a natural resource they found useful. They would come in and take hydrogen for their ships from our gas giants, and who cared if they did? The gas giants had more than enough gas to go around, and if one of our ships had to wait a bit longer to tank up, it was still better than getting shot up. The asteroids, though, that was a source of some contention, since asteroid mining was necessary for us as well. If the Kree found out about a particularly rich asteroid, they might move in and take it over, and even use the native population as labor to mine the asteroid out until they had what they wanted. While this was annoying, we learned to live with it, since anyone who fought ended up dead, and as I said, the Kree would move on once they had what they wanted. So things continued like this for a while, and if it wasn't ideal, at least we weren't being slaughtered. Then the Kree found a world they liked. It was around a G5 class star, so none of us cared. But it seemed SOMEONE did. It had been colonized by humans. This was the first any of us had heard of them. Little did we know the bliss in which we had lived up to that point. The Kree went on a killing spree. The yellow star worlds belonged to them after all. Or so they thought, and eliminated every human on the planet, all 1,200 of them. We all thought that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. The Kree then backtracked the humans' communication network to 8 more human colony planets, all around G-class stars. The Kree destroyed all of the colonies, claiming the worlds as their own. The last one had almost 1 billion human inhabitants, but by then, the Kree were beyond reasoning. They destroyed every city and town, then landed troops and hunted down every human. At the last world, the humans called it Ark. Whatever that means, the Kree searched the databases of the human computers and found the homeworld of the humans, a planet orbiting a G2 star that was even larger and hotter than their own. That turned out to be really bad for the Kree. The Kree fleet advanced on the human homeworld, and we all expected that to be the end of the humans. After all, NOONA had ever stood in battle against the Kree and survived. The humans hadn't even a TTEMPT ED to fight to defend the other worlds. As far as anyone could tell, the humans didn't even know HOW to fight. A lone human ship came out to meet the fleet. Leave now or be destroyed, the humans told the Kree, and got the typical Kree reaction. They blew the ship to pieces. And then the most remarkable thing happened. In the center of the Kree fleet, a small, brilliant ball of light appeared. We didn't know what it was. Only one ship survived, and that only because it had arrived late and had not yet joined the fleet. The readings didn't make any sense, at least not until much later. It was as if a star had suddenly materialized for a brief moment. Not the detonation of a weapon, not a nuclear reaction, but just the sudden appearance of intensely hot plasma, as if it had just been conjured into existence. It grew and grew until it was so large that it encompassed the entire Kree fleet. When the plasma finally cleared, not a trace of the Kree fleet could be found, only an expanding, ever-thinning cloud of plasma remained. The single ship returned to the Kree homeworld and reported what had happened. The Kree assembled a full battle fleet and sent it to attack the humans. Again, the humans sent one ship to tell the Kree to leave. Again, the Kree destroyed it. And again, the Kree were themselves destroyed in turn. Once more, only a cloud of plasma remained, though this one was many times the size of the previous one. The Kree were enraged. No one had stood in battle against them. EVER, and now these HUMANS had not only stood against them, not only defeated them, but had utterly destroyed an entire battle fleet. This could not be allowed to stand, otherwise other species might get ideas. Thus, the Kree assembled every combat vessel they possessed, and built a fleet of such might and size as had never before been seen in the galaxy. It would not be possible for anyone to stand against them. Just as they were ready to leave Kree space, a human ship appeared. Just a single one. And the human ship sent a message: turn back or be destroyed. The Kree laughed. This is our home system. It is YOU and LL your ilk who shall be destroyed. And once again that terrible plasma appeared, eating the fleet as if it were a living thing and the fleet were its meal. And when it was done, not a trace remained of the fleet, but an expanding cloud of plasma. And the human ship sent a message to the Kree homeworld: do not attack our world again. If you do, we will destroy you. The Kree responded, saying, we are the people of the yellow stars. They are OURS. We will go where we wish, when we wish, and take WHAT, WAW, ISAH. For what you have done here today, we will erase you from existence. The human ship said nothing. It simply turned around and left. 8 minutes later, the Kree sun went nova. The humans were merciless. They found every Kree world. All 15 stars that had Kree colonies, 21 worlds, over 100 billion Kree, all destroyed by novas. Now, understand? A G-type star doesn't go nova. At best, at the end of its life, it will become a red giant before blowing away its outer layers to leave behind a white dwarf, a dying cinder of a star. But somehow, the humans had found a way to weaponize a star. First, by teleporting the plasma from the core of a star to an arbitrary point in space. That was how they destroyed the fleets, and then by making a star go nova. That's right. They figured out how to detonateastar. The fury of the humans burned brilliant in the void, the celestial tombstones of an entire species across 1 million cubic light-years of space, in the night skies of 1,000 worlds for the next full cycle. And we all got the message. Don't fuck with the humans. And the galaxy trembled.